Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie, and this channel is chronicling my journey of living my best life with multiple chronic health conditions. Just want to give a life update as to what was going on before I went to Gatlinburg and why it was a couple weeks before I posted, and then what's been going on since I've been home and why I haven't posted. So the week before I went to Gatlinburg, for whatever reason, I got like a burst of motivation, energy, something, and I was getting a lot of things knocked off of my to-do list, which was really nice for a change. And just by the time I sort of made my way through a lot of the things I was able to do, I needed to start packing for Gatlinburg. And then once I got to Gatlinburg, I was more tired than the activities I was doing would have led me to believe. This trip, instead of doing a lot of things in Gatlinburg, I was doing more things in Pigeon Forge and Sevierville. So not only was it more driving, but it was also timed activities. So I had to, for example, like buy tickets to see a show or something like that. And I hesitated to do that the first time I was there for multiple reasons, but one being like, I don't know how I'm going to feel when it comes time to leave to go do whatever the thing is. And that was most of what I missed doing last time. So I didn't really have a choice. I had done most of the Gatlinburg tourist things. I actually was rarely on the Gatlinburg Parkway this trip because I'd done it all. There was just no reason to do it all again. And it was more like driving to go do something, which adds an extra layer of fatigue. I did see a lot of shows that were, I just sat there, which was really nice. There was a lot of me just sitting places. There was like the lumberjack show. I drove over the mountain, which I heard on Facebook was really beautiful, which it definitely was, into Cherokee and Bryson City, and went on a couple train rides, which was really nice. I had a too close encounter with a bear, saw some elk. It was relaxing in a sense because I wasn't having to walk places and I wasn't recovering from that, but the driving, still had to recover from that. I have been home for a couple weeks now. I got home on the 10th of October, I believe it was. So been home for about a week and a half at this point. I don't know whether I'm still recovering or this is just my normal sleepiness during the day because of the diuretic at night and not being able to sleep. On the days I had things to do during the day that were timed when I was in Gatlinburg, I just would not take the diuretic the night before. There were a period of 2 or so days I didn't take the diuretic and gained 7 or 8 pounds, which I still technically never lost, but there's been more nights I didn't take the diuretic. I didn't take the diuretic when I was coming home, so those 2 or 3 nights of travel, I didn't take the diuretic either. And it's just the weight comes on very quickly when I do not take the diuretic, and it does not go off nearly as quickly when I do take it. But that will be for the cardiologist visit here in a couple weeks. Let's see. I have not been as productive since I've been home compared to when I left. And I think part of that is just still recovering from the drive home, which was a lot more difficult than I was expecting. I've also had some doctor appointments since I've been home. I have some tests coming up, which I will talk about. Will I talk about in the next video? I'll be able to talk about 2 of them in the next video. So more to come on that. That will be the echocardiogram that I had done a couple days after getting home. That was actually why I came home the day I did, versus staying a few more days. And then I did a sucrose and tolerance test that I have not gotten the results back from GI. And I have a mixed meal tolerance test coming up on Thursday. And I did ask my provider to order lactate along with that, because I already know my blood sugar goes crazy when I ingest a lot of carbs. And I know that it looks like insulin. I can't even think of the word. Insulin resistance on the surface, but I really don't think that's what's going on. And I think by getting lactate measurements as well, it can give us a better idea of what's going on instead of just glucose, insulin, C-peptide, which is what normally is done with the mixed meal tolerance test. Oh, and pro-insulin too. So that's coming up here in a couple days. So the next video will probably be about what those results looked like, and briefly on the echocardiogram. There's not much to cover there. And then just following up with GI and cardiology in the beginning of November, and primary care in December. I think that's it for doctor appointments this year that I know of. Yeah. Just trying to find my swing of things again. I do want to make a video. I put the glass table back on this side of the room. I have a bunch of sort of medical, occupational type things to do there. My fine motor control activities there. I have some activities I picked up while I was in Gatlinburg that I want to get better at, that will help with hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. So that's all on the table. And then I also have, for example, my glucometer. I will have my personal nebulizer. I did buy a lactate meter, which is this behind me right there. So all of that will be on that table to sort of start my day, or just have a period of day where I go to the table and sort of do the things. I have not done that yet. I really need to get this diuretic figured out. The cardiologist has been of no help with that, just sort of a deal with it type of attitude, and that's not going to suffice for me, because lack of sleep just isn't healthy, and I don't know why they are acting like not sleeping isn't a big deal. But I have an appointment with them in a couple weeks, so we'll see what I can get done. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Sorry I haven't been regularly posting. It's just lack of sleep is not conducive to doing much of anything. So hopefully that will get figured out in a couple weeks. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye guys.